I absolutely hate wasting time, especially when it comes to building muscle. And I have found over my 20 years that these three huge things are a complete waste of time when it comes to adding more muscle. All right. First things first, number one on this list is nutrient timing. So I'm not going to say nutrient timing doesn't matter, but it only matters in certain situations. So it matters more so if you're dieting. So if you're in a dieting phase, nutrient timing is more important. If you're competing, that's when it matters more, because if you're competing, you're looking for that 1% edge off somebody else. And if you're a more advanced trainee trying to tack on as much muscle as possible, that's when nutrient timing matters most. It matters less if you're in a calorie surplus, meaning you're bulking up, doesn't matter. If you're not competing, if you don't have plans to compete, doesn't matter. And if you're a beginner or intermediate. Instead, what you should be focusing on is just your total calories for the day and your total protein intake for the day. That's all that matters when it comes to building muscle. It doesn't matter how you time it. I personally like to have at least 4 to 5 meals a day. That works best for me and my schedule. And I feel like that's enough timing wise to matter. Most people make a big stink about like, oh, post-workout window of opportunity for growth. Some days I have a huge post-workout meal. Some days I don't. It just depends on my schedule and what's going on. But it matters less than 1% of the time. So unless you're in a severe calorie deficit and you're trying to maintain as much fullness as possible, if you're a competitor or if you're an advanced person trying to eke out the last bit of muscle that you can on your frame, then it matters. Otherwise, just focus on the calories and the protein and just continue doing the day in and day out work. All right. Just keep that in mind. Okay. So nutrient timing, to me, complete waste of time unless you're kind of doing those other things that we talked about. The next thing is going to be giant sets. Now, giant sets are defined as 4 exercises performed back to back for the same body part. So let's say, for example, I'm doing back, I'll do pull-ups. If I'm doing giant sets, pull-ups, lat pull-downs, bent over rows, cable rows. And I just perform 4 of those exercises back to back and then rest after that. Giant sets are good to kind of shock the body and kind of shock, like just try something new. It's probably good overall for cardio. But as far as muscle growth goes, it's not going to do anything for you. It's actually, I believe, a complete waste of time. You're going to get more of a cardio workout. And yes, it's going to be a hard workout when you do it, but it's not enough to stimulate muscle. And here's why. So let's say I followed that protocol for back. Pull-ups, pull-downs, bent over rows, cable rows. Let's say I normally do pull-ups. I normally do 10 reps. Okay. So I start my giant sets. I do 10 reps. And then I go to the next exercise, next exercise. I rest and I do it again. I'm going to be way more fatigued when I come back to the pull-ups that I might not be able to get my 10 reps again. I might only be able to get 8 or 6 or whatever the number is. And I am not going to be able to progress doing that because I'm so fatigued. Fatigue is going to be so high in the muscle that you're not going to be able to progress and keep the constant tension that you do need on the targeted muscles. So again, for example, if I'm doing pull-ups and then I go immediately into pull-downs, and normally when I do pull-downs, I do 200 pounds, I'm going to instantly have to cut that load down because I'm not going to be able to get the amount of reps that I need with 200 pounds because I'm so fatigued from the previous exercise. So I don't believe that giant sets have their place when it comes to muscle growth. I think it's good. It's a good workout. It's a challenging workout, but it's not enough to stimulate muscle and lay down new muscle tissue. It's just hard. And sometimes hard doesn't equal good. So just keep that in mind. It limits you to progress. And progression is key when it comes to building muscle. All right. So giant sets, only save that for when your buddy comes in who you haven't seen in a while and you want him to do legs. Just have him do a giant set of legs and he'll never come back to the gym again. All right. And the third thing, and this one is so common, I see it all the time in gyms, random 1-rep maxes. Your buddy comes in, he feels super strong today, decides to go for a 1-rep max. 1 rep, I'm a competitive powerlifter. I love 1-rep maxing. I love it. I get a thrill out of it. It's fun hoisting around heavy weight. As far as muscle growth goes, it does nothing. If your goal is strictly to put on muscle, it doesn't matter. 1 rep, who cares? I would say if you want to do something like that, see how many reps you can get, max 5 with a certain load. Like don't go under 5 reps. There's really no reason to do that when your goal is pure muscle growth. Random 1 rep maxes don't make you stronger. They don't help progress anything. Like, okay, yeah, your max bench went from whatever, 275 to 295. Congratulations. But you got to be able to do these things for reps in order to build muscle. Because 1 rep under the bar, realistically, you want to have anywhere between 30 to 60 seconds under a load, right? That's enough tension on the targeted muscle. When you're doing a 1 rep max, it's like 10 seconds max. Think about that. Down, up. How long does that take? It's not enough stimulus on the targeted muscle. Again, similar to giant sets. It's hard, but it's not effective. Okay? So if your goal is strictly to put muscle on, forget ego lifting, forget 1 rep maxing. If you want to do something cool, do an AMRAP with your 5 rep max and try to beat what you did last time. So if you normally do 275 for 5, try to get 275 for 6 or 7. That's a way better goal. You'll get more out of that when it comes to muscle growth than you would just slapping on 315 and trying to get 1 rep. All right. And if you're confused about your training, I have a free gift for you. I have a free 6-week training program that I want to give you. No strings attached. All you got to do is click that link below and download the program. I just want to help you to avoid all the mistakes that I made along my 20-year journey. All right. This was Anthony, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.